Welcome. Now today, what we're going over, we're talking about scarcity and abundance, and we're talking about your mindset, and you're not going to believe how much it really does matter. It plays a bigger role in the quality of your life than you know. So welcome to today's high performance call. This is Andrew David. This is Blake Newbar's partner program. Whether you guys are watching live or maybe you're catching on the replay, welcome. I do appreciate you guys always being on. So we're going to go over this quiz, an abundance quiz. I'm going to talk to you guys about the questions. So if you missed it yesterday, rate yourself real quick. Okay. You're going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Look at it, guys. Think about it. Comment in. Let me know what you think, but rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 and then grade yourself afterwards. See where you ended up. Okay. It's just a handful of questions. It's pretty straightforward, but here we go. All right. So I'm going to start with the quiz. Guys, let me know when you can see it. Everybody see the screen? All right. What is your mindset? Rank the following statements. Number 1, you are living something close to your ideal life today. Scale of 1 to 10. Okay. Number 2, just rate yourself 1 through 10. You feel confident, assured, and in control of where you invest your time, efforts, and money. How are you spending your time, efforts, and money? All of your financial, professional components are working together, and you have the right team in place to see them through. It may be that it's just starting to become that, right? So I would rate that, like if you're putting things in place to make that a reality, just because it's starting doesn't mean that, everything's firing on 100%, all cylinders, but it doesn't mean I have to rate myself at a 2 with that. You feel energized and empowered about your finances and the direction that they're going. You do what you want to do on a daily basis without fear over time or money, and there are no money worries you could remove from your life or to improve it. So now a money worry oftentimes is simply the worries that I have. It's not necessarily, a real thing. Sometimes it's just the worries, right? So look at these things. If you need to create some additional questions, we're going to talk about a little bit more scarcity and abundance here with these. So we'll dive in. I want to share a couple of things and here's why. Let me stop that before you read it real quick. Over the last week and a half, I've had a couple of members come in and go, I just don't resonate with that mindset stuff. I was talking about it on the strategy call today. I just don't resonate with it. That mindset stuff just doesn't do it for me. Whether I get it that I'm not the person that everybody wants to listen to. I totally understand that, right? I came to grips with that a long time ago. I know some people enjoy listening and they have a good time out of it. They get my sense of humor. They're totally cool with it. Other people get on and they go, who is this punk? I don't want to listen to him, right? If it's not me, that's okay. If it's Brennan Burchard, if it's Bob Proctor, if it's Tony Robbins, all of these guys, obviously years of experience, they do amazing things. Find somebody because there's a reason behind it. Because I promise you over and over and over again throughout my years working online and before I was working online, when I ran my business, I'd have a lot of people come in and go, I don't need that mindset stuff. I don't need to study here. I don't need to study that. I'm going to, I'll figure it out on my own. I don't need my brain to be motivated. I just need the skills. You know what happens to those people? They make amazing employees, make amazing subcontractors. I'm happy to hire them all day long, right? Because inevitably that's what happens. They get scared to do anything beyond what their skill set, what their hands allow them to do. And many of us are caught up in that. If you're unwilling to work on yourself, you won't achieve the large scale growth that you're really fighting for, unless you're not fighting for that. If you're okay, just, by the sweat of your brow, then that's okay too, right? So looking at all of this, it's kind of this, you've got to decide where you want to be. And with a clear understanding of that, it makes the rest of this easier. Some people come in and they complain about one thing, but they're unwilling to do what's necessary. And if that's the case, then shut your mouth about the, complaints, focus on what you're doing and be okay with it. So, mindset stuff does resonate with me, makes sense, because I was ignorant the whole realm of this for years. That's why I'm here right now. Well, good, Michelle, and I appreciate you always being here. That's fantastic. And Jess, to your point, yeah, all of that is a mindset. I don't need the mindset stuff is absolutely a mindset. It's an incredibly limiting and scarce one, right? So here's the truth. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck did a study. Children who have a growth mindset, knowing that intelligence can be developed, are better able to overcome academic challenges than those who have a fixed mindset that says intelligence is predetermined, right? Your intelligence is determined by your race, your ethnicity, where you grew up, who you were born to, the system, this, that, and the other, right? If your mindset is, hey, that's the determining factor, and occasionally you have a shining star that breaks through, then you're limiting yourself. Whereas people would say, all of this can be developed. They're more able to overcome things, right? Now, most of us aren't little kids anymore. Some of us may be at heart or maturity levels. So here's a little study that's a little more close to home. Middle-aged adults, raise your hands. Those with more positive beliefs around aging live 7.5 years longer than those with less positive self-perceptions of aging. If you don't like aging, if you don't like getting older, if life is this and that, and oh my gosh, and my health, and blah, 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 you're going to die quicker. Meanwhile, I'm happy with things. I'm going to enjoy my life. I enjoy getting older. I'm going to do what I need to. And there we go. Right? So please tell me how mindset doesn't mean anything to you. And I'll still be building my business while we're, celebrating is really the wrong word in this sentence. Not celebrating your funeral, mourning your passing is what I meant to say. And obviously, tremendous amount of snark and sarcasm involved right there. So if that was offensive, I'm kind of sorry. But understand, guys, 7.5 years. 7.5 years. If nothing else, if you don't care about the money, that's fine. Right? Honestly. Because we're going to talk about some of those truths and myths when we talk about scarcity and abundance. It's not just making a bunch of money. Your mindset when it comes to aging and health and life and gratitude and those kinds of things, 7.5 years longer. How many of you guys wouldn't pay everything that you have to have an additional 7.5 years with your family? Right? Take my house, take my home, take everything. If I can have an additional 7.5 years with those that I love. Right? Mindset is important, ladies and gentlemen. It absolutely is. We've talked about this before. Reading changes your cognitive function. It helps fight off things like Alzheimer's. It will help you live longer. Start combining these things. Do we see a correlation? Mindset's important. Right? Now, scarcity and abundance. Let's start to get a little bit more in. More gold has been mined from the thoughts of man than has ever been taken from the earth. There is value in thoughts. There is value in your brain. Right? So here's where we talk about value, scarcity and abundance, right? Because a lot of people are so focused on this value of things in our lives. If I've got a book and you've got $20, okay? Sundar, you got $20. I got a book. And in that book, I teach, let's say I give you the principles of the stuff that we've got here that I've put together, talking about personal development, everything else. And we mutually exchanged that for $20. What was the book worth to you? And what was it worth to me? Right? So if I've got a book and it's $20 and I go, hey guys, I'm going to give this to you for $20. For you, what is it? Is it worth $20?
It's a lot more.
It's worth more.
Yes.
For me, either because I've read it, because I've got the knowledge or whatever, for me, it's worth 10. So I'm making a profit. You're making a profit and we are good to go. Some people complain about this world of capitalism, but look, the market is the market. If I've got some value and you want that to you, you're looking at what it's worth to you right now. And hopefully you're looking at what it can be worth to you over time. And I'm looking at it going, I've done what I need to do with this and I'm willing to give that to you in exchange for. That's that value exchange, right? Now, if I'm looking at something, I go, it ain't worth it. Then there's a couple of things. Sometimes it's just, it isn't worth it. Sometimes I'm at a point in my life where it may not be worth it right now. Or I'm unable to see what I can accomplish with it that will allow it to be worth that. Right? when I start talking to people, I got into one of the first mentorship groups that I was involved with was with Joe Polish. And I've talked about this when I was doing clean and restoration. I was part of his platinum group for restoration companies. That platinum group was $1,000 a month, right? $1,000 a month we were paying. And we would get access to some trainings. We were doing a call a month. We had, and this was years ago. So like a Facebook group was, not really working. We had like an email chain. There was a message board, not like Reddit, but like a chat room almost type of thing where we would post messages back and forth. Cause it was before Facebook was really moving. Like it was just starting. I remember when we first started talking about social media. And occasionally during the year, they would do live events, right? So $1,000 a month. And a lot of people would like, that's crazy. I can't see paying that much. Well, look, I was doing it not because, I was thinking, what is that $1,000 worth to me, right? Sitting in the bank, it's worth nothing. Money isn't worth anything unless you're putting it to use to give you whatever it is you're looking to do. And I was looking to expand a business because I wanted more employees and I wanted more time, and having a couple of bucks in the bank didn't mean I got more time. Having that money stagnant wasn't doing anything for me. But what it did allow me to do is create relationships, to learn about marketing, to do all of these other elements that allowed me to build a business and push me down this road that allows me to sit here today and do what I do. Right? So was that investment worth it to me back in the day? Absolutely. I still have a mentor now that I invest with monthly, that same thing. I just found a different group that I've been thinking about wanting to be a part of. So I'm paying a monthly fee for that to join it. I'm going to check it out for a few months and see if the people, I'm not even worried about the content, right? I'm paying a certain, several $100s a month to be a part of this group. And I didn't even look at what the content was. I looked at a handful of the people that were there and I said, do I want to, connect with them? How much access am I going to get? I'm willing to invest money simply for the access to some of those individuals, right? So we'll see how it goes. But that's where that value proposition comes into play. What's it worth to you? And like Tom says right there, if you don't use it, it's not going to be worth anything. And that's with anything you do, guys. The partner program, with the training you've got, all of this, it's got to be worth something. So, all right. Quality of life versus quantity of stuff. Now I can send these slides out because obviously there's a lot of content here. Okay. When we understand that people, not things, are the real assets, we naturally stop placing so much value on the material goods, right? Which is what I was just explaining. I'm not worried about the content that they're going to give me. I'm not worried about access to another program or training or whatever. I want access to the people, because that will allow me to continue to develop my business. I find fulfillment in quality relationships much more than I do in a fancy car or the ability to go buy stuff, right? So that last sentence, we realize that prosperity is more a state of mind than it is columns of numbers on paper, right? So it's not the newest Louis bag that I'm able to get from my fiance or some fancy watch or a trip, right? Well, the trip may be part of it. I plan on later this month going back to Arizona, spending time with my mom for her 70th birthday. Having a business that's going to allow me to go do that while it keeps running, that's worth it, right? So, you're in abundance when your primary focus in life is to lift, serve, and bless the lives of others. You feel happy when others succeed, even those who may be viewed as your competition. You don't feel threatened by others' success. You feel satisfied, complete, joyful, and calm. The purchases you make align with your core values. Rather than saying, I can't afford it, you ask, how can I afford it? Or what's my return going to be? You consistently overcome fear through faith and courage to pursue your dreams. You're able to work with others to achieve things that you couldn't do alone. That's so important. So many of us limit what we can do because we just try and do it on our own because we don't want to ask for help, or we don't want to pay someone else to do something we think we can do, or whatever. Well, I have to accomplish this for me so I can prove that I can do it. Who are you proving it to? Right? Build something long term. You take full responsibility for your life and your work, and use your internal strength to overcome all challenges and transcend external circumstances. For me right now, and again, all of these trainings, guys, I share because I learn and they mean something to me, and there's stuff that I'm going through. So first one, take responsibility for your life, your work, and use internal strength to overcome, no matter where those challenges are coming from. Right now, this one is huge for me. Pick one of these that's important to you. What do you need to work on? This other one, this flies into purchases you make align with your core values. Buying stuff to show other people, it may be a fancy home. We just got stimulus and tax returns for a lot of people. If you're spending your money on stuff because your neighbor got it, your family got it, your mom told you need to have it, things like that, versus what I'm going to do, right? What I need to do with my life, right? I mean, it's simple little stuff. My little guys don't cost much. They make me happy, right? I get my sister, my mom, some other people go, why do you spend money on that? Because I smile. That's it. Because it makes me laugh. I think it's hilarious that I look at a little toy from Thundercats from when I was a kid growing up and I just start giggling or yelling out Thundercats ho. I like that stuff. What are you spending your money on? And then, so I've got that, but then other funds, I look for these programs and things. Now, 2020 threw it off for me. Every year I have a goal personally to spend more on education and events and masterminds than I did the year before. Every year I want to spend more, right? So that number keeps ticking up. 2020 made it more difficult because we couldn't travel, right? So I couldn't pick up and go for a 3-4 day mastermind somewhere. I've got to do it a different way. So, but that's where I like investing my money. I'd much rather spend instead of, what is it? How much is a brand new iPhone? $1,200, $1,300 or something? Even if I spread that out over time, what is it? $100 a month? I'd rather spend that on a training program. Give somebody $1,000 to train me how to do something, right? Instead of a brand new car, I'm not worried about it, right? Especially because I sit my butt at home. So I'm going to spend my money on a different mentor, a different training program, or a different platform that's going to allow me to grow myself and my business. Think about what it is and where you are and what you're looking to do. So a couple more things here. Next, you're in abundance when, all right, we talked about those. Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. William Shakespeare, the bard chiming in. Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win, right? Fear of missing out. This is where it comes into play, guys. Wealth means numbers on account balances. It doesn't. Truth, wealth is finding things daily to do that you love. If your primary focus is numbers, it can prevent you from achieving lasting happiness and wealth. Now, I know almost every single one of you has gone through, a lot of you gone through that strategy session with me. And I've said, you need numbers. But what have I said? They equate to something, right? The numbers equate to something. What I earned last month, here's something, being able to get to work with someone that sends me something that says from the training that I was able to help them do, and they launched their funnel and they're up and going. I can finally buy my girlfriend her engagement ring because of last month. I'm also able to get a new washer and dryer. Your impact is bigger than you know. That's what that number equates into those things for that individual, right? Making his girl happy on something that's probably been bugging for a little bit. Those are why you build. That's why you do what you do. The numbers equate to something. It's not a number to be a number. It's not a number to show off. If your goals are a number to show a family member, look how much I made, then they're broken. They're wrong. And you're going to struggle, right? There's got to be something there. So, Jess, yeah, adventures, experiences, conversations, absolutely. And good food. Good food. Got to add that in. All right. Financial security means steady paychecks and benefits. We're entitled to protection and benefits from a corporation, government, or someone else. 2020 blew this up in the biggest way. It's been breaking down for the last several decades. If 2020 didn't throw this out the window, I don't know what will. Occasionally people are like, well, give me this guarantee because I know if I spend the money here, I got a guaranteed X amount at work. Really? Please show me that right now. I don't know anything other than a government job that's guaranteed right now. So, all right. Truth. We are ourselves the only source of security in this life. But unlike those who depend on external forces, we can make ourselves truly secure. There's a couple other things I want to go over. I'm going to save actually for tomorrow. Here's the key elements of this. As you build yourselves, guys, you can look at family, you can look at corporations, you can look at the college degree, you can look at the government, we can look at whatever we want. Ultimately, you are the only one that's going to make a difference in your security and your freedom. But you have to have the confidence in yourself to make that a reality. And that's where a lot of you are lacking. So a lot of us. Consistent. It's the game of confidence is something that we all struggle with all of the time. All of the time. Doesn't matter how much you'll achieve. If you're true and humble about the process of learning and growth, you'll understand that there's always more to learn and there's always more to do. And so I have those days where I go, what next? Can I do it? Will I be able to? But I've grown to know myself well enough to know that, yes, I'm willing to learn what the skills that I need to, and to be consistent enough to make that work, to find the help that I need to push through, to not listen to other people. You have to gain the confidence in yourself that will allow you to take that step. You have to gain the confidence in yourself. If you want to live truly in abundance, then you start to understand that I'm confident in the actions that I will take, and I'm confident that I can build the relationships with the right places. I'm confident that I can bring more gratitude into my life. I'm confident that things will work out because I'm building on a scale that's different than everybody else's, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. They say that all the time, right? You know, you look at Alexander the Great and what did he do? And some of you guys may know history really well. And I was just looking at something very quickly the other day, but just thought about this point. He started in Greece. Isn't that correct? All the way across, essentially at the time, the known world, until he got to India. Over and over and over again, people were saying, that's enough, that's enough, that's enough. His goal was to build an empire. He started when he was 19 and he didn't stop until he did it. Now, yes, there were deaths involved and there was brutal wars all over the place, but he set out to accomplish, and he walked across the known world to accomplish that. Many of us are unwilling to take the first few steps. I had a conversation with someone in the last couple of days that they were 30 days into it. Now, beginning of this conversation was much different than the end of the conversation. By the end of the conversation, they were ready to go. They had a better idea of what they needed to do, but they were 30 days into their journey online, throwing their hands up saying, it's just not working. I'm doing everything I was told. And when we broke it down, come to find out he wasn't doing anything that he was told. He was doing what he perceived because he didn't watch the whole thing, because he tried to shortcut it. He figured that was all that needed to happen and money would just be printed. Ladies and gentlemen, your life is a journey, but every single day you can do something to bring in more abundance, to lessen the amount of scarcity in your life, to develop yourself, to build the confidence in yourself, because you're committed to something, you're clear on what that is, you're willing to work through the courage, build up the capabilities so that you can have the confidence there, right? And on that note, you guys can always rise up from the ashes, fly like the phoenixes that you are, get out and kick some butt. So, appreciate you guys as always. Sit down, think about where you're at, look at the quiz that we did, and evaluate yourself. Look at what you can do to keep yourself